Onodi cell and Haler cell. The Onodi cell, also called the sphenoethmoidal cell, formed by the lateral and posterior pneumatization of the most posterior ethmoidal cells, the ethmoid complex and the most posterior ethmoid cells over the sphenoid sinus. Because Onodi cells are posterior ethmoid cells that are positioned superolateral to the sphenoid sinus, the optic nerve and carotid artery may often course through the lateral aspect of the Onodi cell instead of the sphenoid sinus. Course through the lateral aspect of the Onodi cell. Stamberger defined an Onodi cell as a posterior ethmoidal cell with an endoscopic bulge of the optic canal. The Onodi cell, formed by lateral and posterior pneumatization of the most posterior ethmoid cell over the sphenoid sinus. The vulnerability of the optic nerve, with or without the presence of an Onodi cell, is further compounded by the thin laminae papyracea in the posterior ethmoidal area. This anatomic variation is found in 14% of cases according to studies using CT in association with recent developments in endoscopic sinus surgery. The presence of Onodi cell increases the chance that the optic nerve and or the carotid artery would be exposed in the pneumatized cell. The optic nerve and more rarely the internal carotid artery may be exposed within or lie immediately adjacent to such a cell, and therefore during endoscopic sinus surgery, attempts to localize the sphenoid sinus via instrumentation through the posterior ethmoidal cells can lead to optic nerve and even internal carotid artery damage. Haler cell. Haler cell is also called the infraorbital cell or the infraorbital extension of an ethmoidal cell. That's the Haler cell. Infraorbital cell. The Haler cell is usually situated below the orbit in the roof of the maxillary sinus. Maxillary sinus, the roof in the infraorbital area. It is positioned inferiorly and lateral to the ethmoidal bulla. Inferior and lateral to the ethmoidal bulla and is intimately related to ethmoidal infundibulum. It occurs in 10% of people. Pneumatized ethmoidal cell that projects along the medial roof of the maxillary sinus. Now, as it is closely related to ethmoidal infundibulum, an enlarged Haler cell may contribute to narrowing of the ethmoidal infundibulum and recurrent sinus disease. An enlarged Haler cell will narrow the ethmoidal infundibulum and result in obstructive sinus disease. This is the Haler cell, and if it is enlarged, drainage outflow of the maxillary antrum is hampered, leading to chronic sinus disease.